Hi, welcome back. So in the last video, we had covered Javas, what variables in JavaScript are in the last video, and in the last video, we had covered what methods are, and we had seen three basic methods that we use, which are alert, prompt, and console.log, right? So what we are going to do in this video is we're going to see how we can write JavaScript outside the console. So until now, what we have done is we have clicked on inspect, we have went to the console, and close this. And then we have written all the JavaScript that we want in here. But you do not want this. So what we're going to see is how you can write JavaScript outside the console in your VS Code in a proper separate file or in an HTML file. So let's just jump into that, right? So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new folder inside this course material, which is uploaded on GitHub, so that you can get a better idea. And I'm going to name this intro to JavaScript. And now inside this, I'm going to make my new files, right? So I'm going to open up a new file here. And I'm going to save it inside course materials, intro to JavaScript. And the name is going to be jsintro.html. Now first I'm making an HTML file because to have anything on the browser, you need to have HTML, right? You cannot work without HTML. So I'll save this, and we need just our normal boilerplate in this one, not the bootstrap one specifically. Indent. And I'll name this JavaScript intro. Another H1. Alright, so now we're gonna start with a really basic thing, which is let's try to show an alert on the page saying hello, welcome to the page, right? So right now, obviously we do not get anything because we have not added any JavaScript. And let's see what we need to do to add the JavaScript. So just like the style tag, just like adding CSS, there are multiple ways of doing this. First, and there are two basically. The first is adding it through a script tag, and second is making a separate JavaScript file and linking it. So first, let's simply see how the script tag is used. So you can simply do something like script, and now in between of these two tags, whatever you write will be your JavaScript for the page. So what if I do something like alert, hello, welcome to the page. And one thing in JavaScript, you need to have these semicolons after each of the things. Alright. So I see I get hello, welcome to the page as soon as I reload the page. But what we have done is we have given this in the head tag, and hence this is being loaded before the body. However, you do not want it to load before the body, and this will not be a really big change in this specific scenario, but in the future when we have something which is editing this, or changing something on the page, some HTML with JavaScript, we will see how to do that. Don't worry about that right now. So for that we should ideally have our script tags at the end of the body, right? So let's take them there. I refresh, and there is no change, but this will eventually help us when we are changing some HTML on the page. For now, you just need to know that script is at the end of the body, right? That's it. And so this was a method of writing your JavaScript inside the same file. Now again, this, just like the style tag, using the script tag is never good practice. And why is that? Because in JavaScript, you will have even longer files than you have in CSS, you know. So there is no point in adding 500 lines of JavaScript in an HTML file, and of course, that is not good practice. So how do you do that if you want to link a separate file to this? First off, let's make our separate file and let's name it jsintro.js. So the extension for a file for JavaScript is .js, right? JS standing for JavaScript, of course. Okay, so now we have made our JS file, and let's add our alert in here. It says, hello, welcome to the page. I am from the separate file, right? Let's comment this out. And now let's first refresh. Of course, we do not see the alert, and that is because we have a JS file which will give us the alert. We have an HTML file that is showing this, but we haven't linked this to this in any way, right? So for that, we use the script tag again. Now this might be a bit confusing because in CSS we had different tags like style and link for linking and putting styles in the same document, right? You could put your styles in between style tags, and to link you use the link tag. However, in JavaScript, both of these things are done by script tag only, and it is a dual function tag. You could do this and write your code inside this if you want, and that will give you something like this. But to link some other file, we have the source attribute in this, right? You do source, and then you just write the name of your JS file. And now if you refresh, this is hello, welcome to the page. I am from the separate file. Again, we will move this down. And if I refresh, now this is the point where this is actually helping because our page is already loaded, and after that we are getting this alert. And the reason this was not happening in this was because the script tag was being executed first, and you will mostly have your JavaScript codes in a separate file. Not mostly, you will always have your codes in a separate file. And so that is why we can see that the whole page has rendered. Now imagine having a really big page and then your JavaScript running after the page has loaded, because you do not want your JavaScript to run and show effect before even the page has loaded, right? And that is why we put this script tag at the end of the body. That means everything is already there. Now just link this to this and do whatever is said in here, right? And now let's do some more things, saying, oh, I do not have a semicolon here. Remember to put the semicolon after all of these, right? So now we can do something like a console.log. Now this is something you will do a lot while debugging your big codes, right? You will print some things out to the console to see if they have the expected value that you wanted them to have, and that will help you debug a lot. So let's do something like, this is my first console log. I refresh, I do this for the alert, I inspect, I go to the console, I see I have got this is my first console log. And this is exactly what we wanted, right? We could also do something like, now we'll have our actual practical scenarios. We'll make a variable and we'll console.log that variable, right? And now if I refresh, I press OK, I see 5 gets outputted. So this is actually really helpful in printing things out to the console, which is used for debugging mostly, right? Yeah. So this was just writing your files, writing your JavaScript files. And just to recap this whole video, there are 2 ways of writing your JavaScript in VS Code, or in any compiler. But there are 2 ways of writing your JavaScript with an HTML document and not in the console, right? Like we were doing till the last video. So the first is writing inline. This is not inline. Writing everything between a script tag in your HTML document, right? That was something like this. However, Just like the style tag is never good practice for CSS, the script tag is never good practice for JavaScript. So the script tag has a second use. You can leave everything blank between these two, and then you can just add your source for the JavaScript file. You go in here, you write your code, and then as you refresh the page, this gets loaded. One thing to remember, script tags are always put at the end of the body, and you will also see in the Bootstrap boilerplate, Bootstrap HTML starter template, that we were always copying, that they have their link tags up here and their script tags down here. And so yeah, that is how you would link another JS file to your HTML document, right? So that is it for this video. I will see you in the next one.